I'm about to play. Um, and they both got pretty. They both talking about the same story, but I think that I want to speak on in both of these videos. So I'm gonna go ahead on and compound them both into this one video, and I'm gonna chime in. But I want to start off by saying this: I'm 35. I don't have any children, and a lot of time I speak about certain things dealing with children, and some people, small-minded people who really don't think have a brain, they'll say stupid things like, "What do you have? Why you saying something about it? You don't have children. Um, you know, it's not gonna happen to your children because you don't have them," or all this stupidity. Um, and in this video, I'm about to show you why I speak about the things I speak about when we dealing with the black community. I'm also gonna show you in this video why the black community is like it is. And first of all, I'm gonna start off by saying this: 70 some percent of black children are being raised in matriarchal households. They're being raised by mama. A lot of these women are angry, um, whether it be from childhood angry of them not having a father, or angry that they have to raise these children by themselves, which is very hard. Not being able to provide without working all these hours, and just all the things that they deal with by bringing children in the world without a plan, bringing children in the world with the wrong person, and whatever the situation may be, because it's always, like I say, on this a pro truth channel. So with that being said, is the things that I'm gonna say. Sometimes it's gonna rub people the wrong way, and you always gonna have people come in your comment section with the exception to the rule. Well, this is not that channel. This is a channel that speaks on the rule. I don't speak on the exception, because you're gonna have people go, "Well, what about somebody that got divorced or something like that?" We not talking about that. We talking about 70% of black children who is raised in single parent households, and women is not even up for a debate. Women are not equipped. They not equipped to raise a young man. A young man, women too. They not equipped to raise a little girl by themselves. But young boys is like a lion. You got to know how to tame that, and can't nobody do that but a father, a good father figure, which sometimes comes in the form of a coach, a counselor. But at the end of the day, these people can't go home with these children, right? So the children need their father. That's the number one issue in the black community. That's the number one issue. You could talk about all the issues that the black community going through, start from A to Z, and all those problems is gonna start with two parent households. Once again, oh well, what about the two parent households that got that listen, if a two parent household produce a child that end up being a troubled risk, that means that something went wrong in that household. That means that something went wrong. Maybe the father wasn't there enough, but an active father in his children life every day, disciplining his children, loving his children. They, like I say, the woman is very important too. I don't want to discredit the woman at all. She is extremely important, and it's something that she brings into the child life that man can't, that the man can't. So the woman is extremely important. Let's be clear on that. However, the father is the disciplinarian. The father is the one who creates structure. And out of all people, really all children, boys or girls, but boys for sure need that disciplinary, need that structure in their life, right? And so going back to how I started the video, you'll have people who don't have children. They speak on certain issues dealing with children, and crazy, stupid people will say, "Well, why do you care? You don't have children. You don't have to deal with this. You that." Well, for me, I'm gonna speak for me. For one, I got two nephews, one in high school, one in middle school. But this video that I'm about to play shows you that not only can children be affected by children who are not raised right, anybody can be affected. The children that you about to see in this video, it hasn't been verified, but I'll be willing to put my neck on the chopping block that these children are being raised by mothers, which means that they're not being raised. They're being raised in a home with mama, a matriarchal household. Mama working, working, and Lord knows doing what else in front of the children. And NBA young boy, the rappers, and the local degenerates is raising these children. That's who raising them. And so this is why they do the thing that they do. And then you have people that's in positions of power who don't never constructively criticize black people. It's always somebody else's fault. And anytime you have a situation, nobody is saying you never. Barack Obama didn't say it. Al Sharpton don't say it. Jesse Jackson don't say it. None of these so-called black leaders, members of the Democratic Party, which black people love. And the reason why I'm bringing that in because I always say in my videos that black people that's 45 and under, they listen and get all the information. They don't think most. I'm saying most. Like I said, this is a pro truth channel that speaks on the rule, not the exception. Most of them 45 and under allow athletes, rappers, and celebrities to think for them. The black people that's over 45, they let the Democratic Party think for them. The black preacher, with most of them fake, and these so-called fake black leaders like Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton, just to name a few. Nobody pretty much in the black community thinks for themselves. These are the people who think for them, and all these people collectively is telling black people it's this person's fault, it's that person's fault, it's the white man, it's the Jew, nobody's saying, look, black man, you need to stop spreading your seed around recklessly and letting these women raise your children, bring all kind of men around your children. Black women, y'all need to first and foremost stop getting abortions. Hell, a whole generation of black people have been killed in the womb, but that's a whole nother video for another day. If y'all gonna bring these children in the world, y'all need to make sure y'all bring them in the world with the right type of person, because we could talk all this book. These women know what they be doing. Let's not, we get all, well, he I didn't know who he was. You knew if he selling dope, he's not somebody you should be reproducing with. If he can't keep a job, he's not somebody you should be reproducing with. He don't have a home at a certain age. If he's 25 or older, don't have his own home, don't have his own vehicle, and got a job, or in the beginning stage of his career, or he's an entrepreneur, you should not be reproducing with him. So when you reproduce with somebody because you optimistic and you feel like, oh, he gonna be something one day, that's cool if you want to start a relationship on optimism. But you don't bring children in the world being optimistic, saying, well, I feel like his potential, because his potential may or may not pan out. He may or may not get out the street. He may just be in the streets right now. I don't support it, but I understand, every situation got its own, every situation, you got to deal with these type of things on a K by K basis. I don't support it, but you got some brothers, they'll do a little trapping in school, trapping in college, and they'll go, in their career. They just doing things to get at your money. And once again, for the third time, I do not support it, but I don't support it, and I speak against it with the brothers that come in my in my fold. But I'm just saying, I'm just letting it be known, right? So in this video, you got three children, who stole a car. Number one, like I say, these children don't have fathers at home. I would be willing to bet. I could be wrong. But I'd be willing to bet they raised by their mamas, or their grandmothers, which is even worse, right? And so these three gentlemen stole a vehicle, and it almost costed it almost costed not only one of their lives, but it could have cost these other people lives, right? And this is my issue with the black community and them reproducing. You shouldn't even. Let me tell you something, bro. And I like I say, if I was to, I think a law should be passed that if you don't have a certain amount of money in a bank account, you don't have a decent enough job, you don't stay in a decent place, and you don't have the thing that you need to take care of a child, car, house, money in the bank. I ain't saying you gotta be rich, but at least 10 to 15, 20,000 in the bank. You can't leave with that baby from the hospital. because you bringing a baby in poverty. You got women in the project have baby after baby after baby. You got women who don't own anything, not even have a career, and they bringing babies in this world. Once again, I do not support abortion, but they should hold these babies and bring them and let them have, because there's plenty of people. It's good people, not that it's not always good situation, but it is good people out here that want to adopt. They got money, they got their life together, they just can't have children. These children should be put with a good family until that woman gets her life. She have visitation rights and everything, but they should not let these women have these babies. Why is that? They get more and more money every year in the income tax return bracket, which I'm not against income tax, because if you work every year, you deserve to get income tax. But a lot of these women are having children to get more income tax, having children to get Section 8, having children to get more food stamp. They're not bringing children in the world of love. But like I said, if you bring a child in the world into a poverty situation, what do you expect? If you bring your child up in the project, what do you expect? Yes, we know some people make it out of the project and be successful in life, but for the most part, children get caught up. They state babies. They start out, they come out the womb, they on the state, they on WIC, they on food stamp, they on Section 8. And then by the time they 18, or most of the time before 18, guess where else they in the state? They in state penitentiary. They state property. State babies from when they come in the world until Lord knows when. Or they end up losing their life in the street. And it's all, like I say, this all derives from them being brought in the world by two irresponsible people who did not have a plan. You can sit and say, well, the white man and this man and that man, they empowered because of slavery and because the head start that they got in America and all that. And you know what? That is a good conversation that can be had, and it is some truth to that. But at this point in time in America, black people are in a situation because bad decision making, starting with reproducing without a plan. These other people, all these other people, the foreigners that come here, they even illegally or legally, they plan before they just bring. Now, I'm not saying all, but for the most part, they plan before their children get here. Is a plan set in place? Is trust funds set in place? Most of these women today, they don't even have life insurance on these children. Their children get killed and they trying to sell plate lunch. But I'm gonna get into these two videos. Like I say, both of these videos is a news channel, and they breaking the situation down. And I want to speak on both of them. And like I say, these situations that I'm about to show y'all is why it bothers me, why it angers me when I see these single black mothers reproduce with trappers, reproduce with degenerates, reproduce with criminals, and and what happens is the child end up become a female on Instagram shaking her booty for money. OnlyFans. They reproduce a child who does things like this, and the children that does things like this. One of the main issues with me is why nobody want to be around us, which that's cool. I don't care, but this is why I speak on it, because that could have been my nephew on that bus. That could have been my loved one in that school board truck. That could have been any one of my people in that situation, and I'd have had to get a bad call. Why is that? Because three degenerates who 9 times out of 10 was born to two degenerates chose to make a bad decision and got other people involved. If the car would have flipped and just them would have got hurt or killed, listen, rest in peace on their souls, condolences to the family, but that's their issue, their problem. But as you can see in this video, that's not what happened. So we're going to play the video. Let's roll, and I'll chime in.
YouTube is the new home of NFL Sunday Ticket. Sign up now and get $100 off. Watch all your favorite NFL teams' out-of-market Sunday afternoon games all season long exclusively on YouTube and YouTube TV. Sign up now.
It is a shocking.
As you can see, they hanging out the vehicle in the school zone, swerving in a Kia. One of the young men flew out, and he's the one who got life-threatening issues. But if you look closely in this video, by them impacting that school bus so hard, a child ended up flying off. Some innocent poor child that had nothing to do with these fools.
A video we have ever seen of the recklessness that happens on the streets of Milwaukee. A driver just weaving along outside a middle school, both people in the car hanging out the windows before that car slammed into a school bus.
And that crash has left a 15-year-old who was riding in that car fighting for his life.
Mary Jo Ola live outside of Morse Middle School where all of this happened this morning. Mary Jo, a lot of people in disbelief over this one.
Oh yeah, definitely, Steve, especially watching that video for so many. It's very hard to watch. The scene is clear here now, but parents in the area say that reckless driving around the school is unfortunately very common. This time it left a 15-year-old.
That's what happened when you're in bad neighborhoods. Unfortunately, that's what happens in bad neighborhoods, which majority of the time, and I will be willing to bet, is mostly black. Unfortunately.
And an 11-year-old hurt. You can see two people hanging out the windows of a white Kia as it swerves, then slams into a parked school bus on North 80th Street. We've blurred the portion that shows a passenger being dragged across the road. What's going through your mind as you're seeing this?
Scary.
Therese Nelson says she was dropping off her kid at Morse Middle School when she first saw the white Kia swerving south on 80th.
I see them turn around in my mirror.
And you know what? It's funny that they got a white woman who testifying on this situation, because you know what black people will say? They'll come on, and I don't even want to read the comment because I know how they think. I'm black. I know how they think. They'll come on this video or they'll watch this on TV and forget all about what they just seen. Forget all about this, that, and the third. And you know what they'll do? They'll attack the white woman. They'll attack the white woman saying that what she got to say about it. It's not her business. She need to shut up. What about what y'all do? This is what black people do. I'm telling you what most of them will do. Not all. But most of them will come on this video and will forget everything that they seen and attack the white woman for speaking out. Now this white woman allegedly have children that go to that school. So, you know, I always tell people, listen, it's not my place to speak on white people, and it's not their place to speak on black people unless it affects me. If it's something that a white person doing that directly affect me as a black man or me as a black person, then I can speak on it. But other than that, the issue that they have in their community, they have to deal with, which is, in my opinion, they seem to be doing pretty damn fine. It's us that's in ruins. It's us that can't even get along. It's us that kill each other. Even the white people that's in poverty. And if you from where I'm from Louisiana, where they have things called trailer parks. They got white people they call trailer trash. And although the white people in bad situations, they don't kill each other. Yeah, they may have some drug dealing, drug addicts, stealing. But they don't kill up each other like we do in the hood. So it's not a poverty issue. Because you know a lot of these do, like I said, they make all the excuses. Right? They make all the excuses in the world. But they'll say, well, black people do that because they're in poverty. First of all, nobody told them to be in poverty, number one. But number two, that's not why these white people don't kill up each other when they're in poverty in a trailer park. But going back to the original subject, they'll look at this video. I'm telling you, I know them, bro. They'll look at this video and forget everything they saw these three black degenerates that was born and brought in the world by degenerate, and they'll attack the white woman for speaking on it when she got children that go to their school, and they could have been a victim of that. She could have been a victim dropping the kids off, and she could have got hit. She got the right to speak on this particular issue because she could have been involved.
And next thing I know, they hit the bus and the passenger was on the ground and the rest of them took off.
After hitting the bus, the Kia collided with an MPS vehicle. Milwaukee police says the car was stolen. A 15-year-old boy who was a passenger suffered life-threatening injuries. An 11-year-old boy who was on the bus was hurt, but is expected to be okay.
I feel for the person that did get hurt, but they messed around and found out.
And that's another thing I want to speak on. And I got a video on my channel about that. I don't know if I did a live or I got a video. But if you click the link in my description, you will find that video. And there's a video called Should You Pick Your Children? I also got a video on my channel, if you go in the section under live, and it's called Parenting. And also, like I say, but I got a video. If you click the link in my description or you go on my page, I got a video that I created called "Should You Pick Your Children Friend?" And the answer to that is yes. Until they 18 and legally can do things on their own, I'm not saying you kick them out at 18. You let them stay home as as long as they need. But I'm saying until they 18 and they can make their own decision, that they not gonna be called because they 18, they get in a situation, they not gonna call you to come sign them out. They a grown adult at that point. But if they the age, that if they getting in trouble, you getting called out your sleep or whatever situation, yes, you should pick their friend. Why am I bringing up children and their friend? These three young men plotted, put together whatever, and stole this vehicle. I'm out here in Louisiana, and this happened a couple. I think this happened last. Well, not. I think this actually happened last year, where 14 stole a vehicle in New Orleans, and the woman ended up getting dragged because they pulled out the car and she was still kind of, hooked to the vehicle when they closed the door, and they didn't. I don't know if they knew or didn't know, but she was still hooked to the vehicle by a seatbelt, and her arm ended up getting severed, and she ended up dying because they dragged her. And I feel sorry. Well, I ain't gonna say I don't feel sorry for them, but these children and this was a white lady. They about to get hung in New Orleans for that. Even the ones who wasn't driving. Everybody in that case, when you see them again, they gonna have cane. If you ever see them walk on the street again. But I don't feel sorry for them. It's very unfortunate, and if I'm wrong for that, I know we supposed to have mercy for people and sympathy for people. According to the scripture, and I follow the scriptures wholeheartedly. But these things, when I see these type of things, I always put myself in a position. I always put my mom in a position, or someone that I love in these situations. I think about it, how would I feel? You know what I'm saying? And then you look at it, you get a lot of things out of these situations, like the situation that I just told you happened in New Orleans. Now, this white woman was drugged by her car, died like that, drugged until one of her arms was pulled off, and then she died. How you expect the people in her family to like black people moving forward? How you expect people in her family? You don't know who this woman connected to. This woman could be connected. How you expect somebody to say, for instance, she got people in her family, not to mention people that seen that. These people tired of black people, bro. And black people so tore up that and what really makes it worse is they do all this stuff, and then when they get backlash, they blame somebody for it. It's somebody else's fault. It's not their fault. It's not their parents' fault for making bad decisions and bring them in this world. That's what really angers people, even some blacks at this point, right? They call the black conservatives coon because they speak out about it. But this is what angers people so much, because they not taking accountability. They blaming these people. And going back to the woman in New Orleans, let's just say her people own businesses in New Orleans. They probably never hire nobody black again. Won't say why, but they won't. They grandmother, they auntie, they mother. This woman was a mother, a grandmother, an auntie, a sister, and was killed in a gruesome way by 4 teenagers that was raised by bad parents, right? And so going back to this video now, and what I was saying about how, and I need you to check that video out about why parents have picked their children. First of all, parents have picked their children friend. First and foremost, and I'm gonna get to that, but I want to say this real fast. You gotta understand when you bring, and this seems to be something that black people just can't grasp. Most of them, anyway. When you bring children in the world, right? This is not a pet. Right? People bring children, our community bring children in the world just for the hell of it. Like, when you bring a child in this world, that's not a pet. That's not a pet that you can just, and whenever you get tired of it, you can go bring it to a shelter, or you can feed it and let it just do its own thing off its instinct. A child is put here to love, nurture, and protect. So, with that being said, you supposed to do everything if a child make bad decisions, you supposed to be able to sit back and say, you know what, I did my best. You're not doing your best if you raise your child up in a bad neighborhood. You're not doing your best. Because if you raise your child up in a bad neighborhood, even if it's a 2-parent home, he still got an opportunity to hang with the wrong people, which can lead to the bad thing. But also, you got to make sure you instill certain things into your child's head, especially not being a follower, to the point when he with his friends and they doing certain things, your voice going to be so loud in his head that he going to go with your voice over over his friend's peer pressure. Because we all as children, yeah, you might have one or two, because I had a brother and he wasn't no follower. But most children, they are followers. They do things to be accepted, and most of the time it's to their detriment. And so you got to make sure you put your child in the right areas, in the right schools. You got to do everything in your power to make sure they're a successful person. Even things around the house. You don't want children just sitting around all day playing video games. You want to be, as a child, rearing in them. Take the trash out every day. Make sure your room clean. You can play video games, but priority is going to get took care of first, because as a child, any seed that's sold into them is going to grow. If you let them just not do nothing, they're children, they're going to be lazy adults. That's just what it is, for the most part. Is there exception to that rule? Yes, it is. Right? Teach your children things. This is why I tell parents all the time. Make sure your children is in some type of sport or activity. Why is that? Not for them to go to the NBA or the NFL or none of that. If it happens, amen. But those sports and activities teaches your children responsibility, accountability, discipline. Teaches them how to work with teams. Teaches them how to work with other people. Most of these children today is socially awkward. Right? And so these two children, going back to what I was saying about how you need to pick your children's friend and put them in the right area so they can make the right friends. If you're a Christian home, you're a Christian mother and father, why is you standing in the hood letting your child hang with a woman, hang with a child, and he raised by a single mama and everything under the sun going at their house? What you think gonna happen? You think something good gonna come out of that? Almost 7 or 8 times out of 10, nothing good gonna come out of that. So you need to pick the area where you raise your children. You need to have a plan for them, and most importantly, until they're 18, you need to make the decisions on who they friends and who they not. These 3 individuals, these 3 degenerates that was born and brought in this world by degenerates, the driver and the other passenger watched their friend almost get killed. Didn't know if he was living or dead. He flew out the car, got dragged by the car, got hit by the side of that bus. They left him for dead. What kind of friends is that? What kind of friends is that? They said, you know what? Our freedom is more important than checking on our friend life. There's no way in the world I'd have left my friend hanging out a car like that. I'd have checked and seen if my friend was okay, if he was lit. Now, if he was not, I'm not going to, you kid, you think fast, you're trying to get away, you don't want to get in trouble. But it's my heart wouldn't have just let me leave my partner there and not see if he was dead. If anything, I'd have went seen if he was dead, grabbed, seen if he had a pulse, seen if he was breathing, asked him if he was okay, and told him, look, bro, we got to go so we don't get caught. We're going to come check on you at the hospital or whatever the situation may be. But they ran and left him for dead. That's not no friends, bro. That's not no friends, bro. And his parents probably don't even know them, and they don't even probably know each other's parents. And then you never know, they could be, because all of the degenerates, they all probably is raised by their mama, who is friend maybe, and degenerates, smoke dope, get high, get drunk in the house around the kid when they is home, or in a room closed up with a Negro. They not worrying about them kids. NBA YoungBoy raising them. Kodak Black rapping about Stolo, so that's what they do. And it almost cost somebody their life, and it could have cost other people their life. But I'm going to let the video finish, and of course, I'm going to chime in.
There has to be a line that's drawn, and maybe this will be a turnaround moment for that person.
We met Marcia Jenkins as she tried to drop her son off at school.
Perfect story that you about to hear. Perfect story right here. This is an amazing testimony this woman about to give.
My son wasn't on the bus because he normally rides the school bus. So I don't know. It was, I guess, God that stopped us from getting him to the bus this morning.
Parents tell TMJ4 that reckless driving out here happens.
And I want to speak on that too. I want to say something about that. Listen, if you sending your children to school on a school bus, and now if you sending your children if you sending your children to school on a school bus, that should be only because you have to. You got a job, that should be the only reason that you send. If you sending your children on the school bus because you too lazy to go pick them up and drop them off, you are a bad parent. All the stuff that's going on with children today on school buses, you got children getting bullied on school buses, you got children getting raped on school buses, you got situations like this happening. This been happening. This been happening a while now in the scene where high speed chases going on and they running their school buses, and knowing and seeing all that and to still send your child on the school bus by choice, you are a bad, negligent parent. And this woman here, I don't know her situation. She got a vehicle, but maybe she worked, whatever the situation may be. But this particular day, she chose to bring her child to school. I don't know if you missed the bus or what. And even though nobody was on that bus, because everybody pretty much had cleared the bus by the time these morons ran into it, except that one little child that ended up flying off, that could have been a bus full of children. And everybody in the back of that bus probably would have got whiplash, could have got hurt, broken glass in their eye. Anything could have happened. Letting your children ride a bus by choice when you got a vehicle because you too lazy to bring them to school, you are a bad, negligent parent. Argue with your mammy.
Regularly.
They just don't care. It's been plenty of times I've been dropping my son off, and you'll see the swerving, you'll see.
Black neighborhood. That don't go on in the white neighborhood. Cause guess what? They gonna call the police. And after too many complaints, they'll have a police monitoring and patrolling the area during school time. But not the black community.
Kids just doing donuts, or teenagers, whoever's still in these cars.
One time there was a car that was all over the sidewalk. I called, no police showed up.
Both Therese and Marcia believe the ongoing rash of stolen cars is a big part of it.
Something has to change, some way, somehow, something.
Milwaukee police are still searching for suspects. MPS says they immediately worked to get everyone inside and contact police. District leaders say because of reckless driving, they are taking proactive steps to install barriers and cameras to keep their sites safe. Back to you guys.
Mary Jo, thank you for that.
Now I'm about to play this next video. And like I say, it's it got something to do with the same situation, but it's another tape that they giving, and I want to speak on that tape and show a big problem.
After a car allegedly stolen slams into a school bus outside of Milwaukee Middle School. It is the latest example of dangerous impacts reckless driving has on our community.
New at 10, Miriam.
And then they just embarrass us. Just like in the mayor of New Orleans is a black. The mayor of LA is black. The mayor of Chicago is black. The mayor of New York is black. The mayor of Atlanta is black. And all these areas that I just named is in the top 10 in crime. Like, they just embarrass our people of power. You can't even put the gun down and stop the beef. Why, at least, I want y'all to do it forever. But at least you could say to yourself, okay, well, they got a black person in office. We not going to embarrass them by making the crime rate be high. And the reason why I'm saying that, because you got this black woman on this news standing on the side of a white man. You know how he feel. You know what he go home and say. And she got to come on the news because she black and she work at the news. And she got to report on these situations. I know it's embarrassing for her, because it'll be embarrassing for me.
McCarr talked to community mentors about what's driving this behavior and how to turn the problem around.
Hours later, debris from that reckless driving crash still sits at the curb outside of Morse Middle School. Parents I spoke to today say it isn't a matter of if something like this would happen, but when.
I wasn't really surprised. I was just kind of waiting when it would happen.
Dangerous driving, something Miley Taozhang says is a norm around her daughter's school.
Every day when I drop them off or when I pick them up, you see reckless drivers everywhere.
Since 2020, there have been 74 reckless driving calls to MPD in the area immediately surrounding the school. Police are still looking for the driver who ran from the scene here on Monday.
He's the school bus.
Video from the moment it happened shows it was likely teenagers driving the stolen car. Linnell Ramey, the director of Mentor Greater Milwaukee, says kids often get bad behavior.
Now watch this here. This is another issue. This is why I always speak on certain stuff like why the civil rights movement was a big mistake, and that's what, because that's where pretty much everything started, with the blaming others and not taking accountability. It's somebody else's fault, and that civil rights spirit is still in most blacks today. Now you got this quote-unquote so-called community leader, right? The first thing he should have took advantage of with this situation is going on TV doing what? Speaking about parents, saying, you know what? Parents should do a better job, and they should start by doing a better job with who they reproduce with. 70% of our children are being raised in single-parent households, being raised by women, being raised by their grandmothers, and this is the type of stuff that happens to children that are raised by their grandmothers and their mothers in most situations. Not all, but in most situations. There's always an exception. This is not a channel for that. This is a channel that speaks on the rule, a pro-truth channel. And so he's not going to say anything about parents. He's not going to say anything about parenting, and he's not going to say anything about fathers being in their children's lives. He's going to, quote-unquote, blame it on other people besides the people who brought these degenerates in the world.
From witnessing it themselves.
Young people aren't necessarily doing all of this reckless driving, but they're mirroring a lot what they see adults do.
Mikal Merriweather works inside.
But guess what? They wouldn't be doing it if they was raised in a constructive, nuclear mother and father household who actually loved them, planned for them to be here, had them in good situations, and this wouldn't be happening. A lot of these children, like I say, the mothers are angry. They impose their will on the children. They angry while they pregnant. As soon as the children come in the world, they impose their will on them because they're angry for so many different reasons. They didn't have a father. The baby daddy ain't there. He ain't doing nothing. They got to work all these hours because he not doing nothing. He in prison. He cheating. He making baby. He doing everything under the sun. So these women are angry. And they impose their anger. I done seen it. I witnessed it. I done seen it. I ain't just talking just to talk. They impose their will on their children. A lot of them, they be angry and pregnant, and the children already got that angry spirit up on them when they come in the world, and these children just cause chaos. And you sit back and you say to yourself, well, you know, you can't really be mad at the children because they came in the world without a shot. They didn't even get a shot at life, right? You know they're going to come in the world and sell poison to their own people. You know they're going to come in the world and be robbers, thieves, doing degenerate things because that's what they was brought in the world by two generals and didn't even give them a chance. And granted, that is the case. But when these type of situations happen and people loved ones being hurt and or killed, ain't nobody want to hear that. Ain't nobody want to sit down and have them conversations. It's time to have those conversations when nothing happening. Because when something like that take place, those conversations go out the window. People want people prosecuted, and some people want to get it in blood. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'd have had somebody on that school bus, if that had been my situation, right? If that had been a situation where one of my nephews get on a school bus and they got hurt, or if my nephew would have been in a vehicle when one of those things happened and then his two friends left him for dead, I would be looking for those two young men. And when I find them, I would have to repent. I just would have to repent. I would have to have my bond money because you know what? That just don't make no sense. And the crazy thing about it is, even though they know right from wrong, it's not really their fault because they was brought here without a plan, with 9 times out of 10 angry spirit that was laid upon them, and this is the backlash from that. This is what comes from that. But once again, I wanted to play the second video because you got these people. Now you got this guy. He gonna say some good things, but once again, him just like this so-called community leader, they not hit on the root. They talking about the branches and the leaves, and they not hitting on the root. And the root is have a plan for you bring children in the world, reproduce with somebody that's gonna be a father and go stick around, be a better parent, raise your children in the right areas, teach them great values and all that. Make sure they have a father in their life. Bottom line, bring children in the world with a plan and with somebody who is willing to be is ready to be a father, and not somebody that just wanted to have raw sex with you.
The middle school and saw the crushed car on his way in the building. He says he's seeing the trend of reckless driving in kids move in the wrong direction.
I just try to continue to remind the kids as I'm in the school, hey, this is not going to impact your life in a positive way. There's other ways to.
Yeah, but they don't look at you and listen to what you saying. You a teacher. You doing the right thing with your life. You ain't on you 9 times out of 10 not on Instagram with big stacks of money. You don't smoke blunts. So they don't listen to what you say. You what they would call a square. So they not listening to what you saying. It's good you telling them. Don't get it twisted, brother. But they not listening to what you saying. They listen to NBA YoungBoy and Kodak Black. That's who they listen to because they don't have a father in their life.
Have fun, enjoy yourself, and this is gonna hurt yourself in the long run.
Ramey says that kind of mentorship is what kids need to make sure they're on the right path.
They're searching for something. How do we fill that gap of something? It's really just kids just need to hear that they're supported, they're loved, and someone cares about them.
Now, Ramey and
by their mother and their father. Nobody else. Oh, they got this old saying that it takes a community to raise a child. No, I don't agree with that. It takes a good mother and a good father to raise some good children to be good members of society. It don't take all those other things. If they got a coach, if they got somebody in the community that actually cares about their well-being, a big brother, big sister, a mentor, cool. Thank you, Jesus. But the most people who responsible for them, the people who are most responsible for them is the people who brought them here, which is their mother and their father. And I get it. Some situations just don't work out. You have people who they brought children here, and things just didn't work out. But the fathers still need to, fathers. Now this is a message. Now I'm about to speak to you directly. Do everything you can, and I know it's easier said than done because I don't have children and I never had to deal with baby mama drama, but I have witnessed it. But I will say this here: do everything you can to be in your children's life the way you could make a mark on your children's life if things just so happen to didn't work out with you and your girlfriend and or wife. Do not let these women, especially with your young boy, but do not let these women be left alone with these children because these are the things that's going to happen. Grandma can't raise them. Grandmas don't raise children. The mamas don't raise children. When you left them to these women, these are the type of things that happen. I will be willing to bet my freedom that these 3 young men were raised in single-parent households who was either raised by their mothers or raised by their grandmothers. Their father was not around. And if they do have a father that they know or in their life, he is a degenerate too. Bad parents raise bad children. I'm not going to argue with you about it.
the community are focusing on helping those kids affected by today's tragedy. Anyone interested in joining a mentorship program or creating one in their area can contact Mentor Greater Milwaukee. We'll have a link to all of their information under this story on our website. Reporting in Milwaukee, Mariam McCarr, TMJ4 News.
A 15-year-old passenger in that white Kia was sent to the hospital with life-threatening injuries. An 11-year-old who was also hurt got off the bus. They are expected, though, to be okay.
Well, as far as the one who was in the passenger, they say he had life-threatening issues. He'll be all right. Thank y'all for watching, man. If you're going to bring children in the world, I'm going to say this in closing. If you're going to bring children in this world, make sure you have a plan for them. Make sure you make them with the right person. And when they're brought here, make sure you lay out a roadmap for them to be successful. Have them staying in the right neighborhoods. Have them hanging around the right people. Do not let them hang with anybody, because children are very impressionable, and every child not going to be a follower, but most children are followers because they want to be accepted. They want to be friends with other children. They want to be popular. We've all been there before. So you got to make sure your children are around the right children, around the other right children. And two main ways that you can do that is having them in the right schools and having them in the right neighborhood. If you bring them up in the hood, they're going to be friends with children in the hood. If you bring them up in these hood schools, these public schools, they're going to be hanging around with public degenerates, right? And we understand in our community some people cannot be helped. But for the people who can be helped, moving forward, bring children here with people who want children and not raw sex and more income tax and more government aid. Thank y'all for watching. Y'all be blessed. Work.